New cutscene! A column of Adra rises above you, stoic and silent, its ridged layers a measuring stick for the passing of ages. It feels to you as a thick block of ice, and yet you perceive buried in its core a dim, flickering flame, all but extinguished yet preserved against the ravages of the elements. At your approach the flame seems to steady and draw strength, and the layers separating it from you melt away and you are bathed in its glow, a bright beacon of light in the gloom. The glow seems to fade as though you had adjusted to its intensity, and where it was, Iovara seeps into existence, an Aedolic shade hovering above the moist prison floor. Though ageless, she appears somehow different to you, a slight stoop to her carriage perhaps, or a trace of sunkenness in her eyes. There's a broad scar across her face, fibrous and wormy, where flames once lapped, unhealed even in death.
My old pupil. You are a welcome sight, but a worrying one as well. Do you still wander lost in the darkness after all these many years? You are so different now from who you were then, yet much remains the same. Old troubles with a new face.
It would seem I have unfinished business here.
I'd hoped after our last discussion you would find what you sought. Has it eluded you all this time? I can only guess your presence here has something to do with Theos. The energy of this place changes when he is near. I don't know what he has done, but I do know of the souls that pass through here now. They do not come by choice.
Theos diverted them from the cycle. He seeks to empower Whitaker and blame Animancy for the damages that he's caused.
After all this time, you would still stand against the tide.
You knew me when Theos did. There's something I need to know about that time.
I will tell you what I remember.
There's something about that lifetime my soul can't let go of. I need to know what it is, and I'm running out of time. I see moments from life, of you, of the Inquisition, of Theos.
I can see his influence, still hanging like a weight about your neck. So it always was. He had inspired something in you. We spoke of him the last time you were here also. It was just after the trial. You were agitated. I think because you started to consider that what I was teaching may have been true.
And what was that? Iovara's mouth tightens and her brow furrows, a look of pity. Her eyes shift back and forth between each of yours, as if looking for something that would help her decide whether to speak.
That the gods aren't real.
Of course not. It all makes sense now.
I'd dreaded the idea from the moment the Delimgon suggested it. And yet, it almost feels like a relief.
Perhaps not to her. Many are those whom the gods have scorned. This is petty retribution.
That doesn't seem possible.
What I taught was that the gods whose faith we had been spreading were not gods at all, but something else entirely. Something created by people.
How did you discover that?
The Nguithan missionaries all knew it, but they never told the rest of us. They meant it to be a secret that died with them, and in the end, they allowed their bloodlines to fade from memory. I had been assigned to join a few of them at a temple. I found the door to their chambers closed, but the room was stone and the door thin. Their voices carried. I heard enough. I investigated the things they spoke of, and everything was there, just as they said it'd be.
Later on, I left the Order. A few Nguithans found my words persuasive and enjoined my cause. They revealed what I did not already know. Who created these gods, and for what?
They were conceived by Nguith, a society of high minds and broad concerns. Theos' people. In their time, every people worshipped its own gods. Sometimes they warred over it. After a few wars of their own, the Nguithans sought an end to it. They devoted all their energy to finding the true creators. Generation after generation, they prodded and worked the stitching of the world and unlocked its secrets. One day, they found an answer. Except the answer was no answer at all. There were no gods to be found. Or if there ever were, they were gone.
I can see why this would be a bit of a threat.
It shook them, this finding. If they could discover this on their own, how long until others would? How long before war and chaos reigned over a world without consequence? But they had mastered many things in their pursuit of these answers. And with their mastery, they crafted their own gods to fill the void, and sent missionaries to the corners of the world to spread their faith.
That's a fascinating approach to the problem of, okay, the gods aren't real, so we'll make our own, and that will work. That won't cause any problems.
But I think you are right to call it that. Let the world see. Let them decide what to do. That was my faith. I became a missionary because the gods brought me hope that I wanted to bring to others. For a time, the truth sent me to a dark place. Then the day came when I realized nothing had changed, that I still had a purpose, and the purpose was the same and it was worth living for. I began questioning the other missionaries in public, exposing their parlor tricks. In time, their following became mine.
So what powers do gods? How... souls, I guess.
You asked me this once before. Nothing I can say would be any proof, and it may be certainty your soul craves. Resolution. But if you are bound for the same place Theos directs these souls, you will see for yourself, as you once did. Everyone faces this truth at one time or another. Few confront it. Few have the stomach to ask what if. And in avoiding the question, they deny themselves an identity of their own.
Yeah, so... Iovara scans her audience in silence, her eyes thoughtful, lingering on each member of your company in turn, finding interest in things unseen.
What if it were forbidden knowledge, rather than fault, that earned your doom? What of your guilt?
I have seen with my own eyes the deceptions of my goddess. The Watcher has shown me as much. But it was not until now that I understood how truly desperate she was. The depths of her deception.
You speak of her deceptions, but what of your own? Was it her words that led you down your path? Or was it the absence of her words? A gap that you filled with your own broken thoughts?
Beads of sweat coalesce on Durance's forehead, and trickle down the sides of his face in streaming rivulets, as though he were a block of ice standing before a great pyre.
What if you had always been alone, without guidance?
Well, as poorly as I've chosen my guides, I suppose it would be a comfort to know that I'm free of them.
The freedom has always been. It was the guidance that was the illusion. What if our burdens come to us not because they are meant to be, but because they happen to be?
They shape us all the same. It doesn't matter how I drew the small tooth, or even that Pursock had become a deer. The task fell to me, and I completed it.
What if even mastery over all things cannot answer the most basic of questions?
I stopped asking those questions long ago. It is enough to care for those we love with the time we have in this life.
And
What if no god had the authority to relieve our burdens or absolve our sins?
Gods any less important because we created them? We're saying is true. People made the gods because they needed forgiveness, guidance, grace. Things we're not so good at offering one another. First time in decades I feel whole. And it was the power of a god that made me so.
Power it may have been, but not the power of a god.
what if we can be assured of nothing? Then it is the questions we've always posed more value that have always posed more value than their answers.
But isn't that what brought us here? Seeking the man who's haunted you for lifetimes? Who I've unwittingly followed for years?
A question is a journey, and a journey is what makes us who we are, it's true. But when one journey leads only to the next, then where may one find rest? I ask these things not to trouble you, but to show why they must be confronted. No answer is simple, but somewhere between them all lies a truth so beautiful, not even a god could conceive it. Do we not owe ourselves a chance to find our part in it?
We do, even without assurances. There's still truth.
That is truly what you believe. Then you are a far different person than the one I knew. I've been alone here with my thoughts for so long now. I've found peace with my failures, and with my punishment. I no longer curse fate for what might have been. But there is one thing that has clawed and scraped at my mind all these years. One thing that will not be put to rest until I know. Until I understand.
For the first time, hints of doubt trace her serene visage.
I need to know why you chose to remain with the Inquisition, even after you'd learned the truth. Do you remember?
She asks, as the memory springs to your mind. As she asks, the memory springs to your mind immediately, as though it had just happened. One of the things I love about this is anyone we pick is true. Right? That's how this game has worked with so many of these other things. So I'm going to go with, I was afraid of what Theos might do to me if I didn't agree to do it.
Woodica gifted him a great many things, but his ability to manipulate was always his own. Good. The things I taught, the things I believed, I needed to hear that. I needed to know it wasn't because...
Because I doubted you? I needed to know it wasn't because, after everything you'd learned, you'd still rather believe in a lie. If that is the conclusion people reach once they know everything, then my purpose has been a mistake. Did my opinion matter so much to you?
You were a blank slate to me once. A blank slate that I had taught the wrong things. I'd given you a false faith. I had to know I could undo what I had done. Redirect you to embrace the truth. You had heard both sides, seen everything. If not you, then who?
You're never going to be able to convince everyone of anything. True or not, there'll always be dissent.
I expected dissent. But I needed to know that true faith would prevail. Perhaps I've been wrong to place so much importance on one person's actions. It was all I could do to feel like there was an answer. Even knowing what you've told me, some part of me knows it doesn't truly answer what I wished to know. Nor will an eternity of silent contemplation. I will have only my guesses and suspicions, and that will have to do. And what of your understanding of our past? Are you at ease with the choice you made?
I see the world differently now than I once did. I regret what I did to you, and wish for your forgiveness.
There is nothing to forgive. The fault was always mine. I led you down the path that led to Theos. When I tried to steer you back, it was too late. To have taught someone wrong is far worse than to have done wrong yourself. Long have I wished to make amends for this, but the time has long since passed. At first I thought this might be the source of your soul's anguish, but now I see I was mistaken. You are not divided on this matter. You have put it behind you. It is with Theos that your agony lies, in sun and shadow. Your questions are not for me, but for him. And it may be that only an answer from the mouth of Theos himself will satisfy your needs.
Okay.
Yet if there is anything I can tell you that would be of use, ask and you shall know.
How is it you speak Adiran? I speak no language now, but the wordless expressions of the spirit. It is through my connection to you that I am able to draw upon your words and form them as my own. Are you bound here until the end of
In a
time?
matter of speaking, this is Braeth Yamen, the court of the penitents. Souls are confined here until they repent. They must beg the forgiveness of a god, pledge their soul to them, and they will be lifted from this place to the world above. In truth, they receive leniency, but not true mercy. The spite of Woodica is eternal. They linger above, at the side of the old court, and are not permitted to leave the island, forever severed from the cycle.
She's a charming lady, isn't she?
This prison was full once in the days of the Inquisition, But time weathers all things, even will. I'm the only tenant who remains. Yet, I feel their presence strongly now, as it was in the beginning. You have brought many of them here. They cry out for the judgment of Theos. You have struck some bargain with the gods, then?
The other gods aid me because they want Theos destroyed. I owe them no debt.
They aid you because they would bend you to their own purposes. Engwith built gods from ideals, and an ideal on its own is a grotesque and vicious thing. But these souls, these forgiven the gods have bequeathed you like chattel. They were loyal followers in life. They will be with you to the very end.
Why don't you repent? You could be free of this place.
Last time someone asked me that, I was bound to an iron wheel with a broken spine. There are many things I've come to doubt about the choices I made in life. But that trial was my one moment of certainty. Even without a chorus of gods to tell me I had been right. The gods need to be reminded that we have a spirit, and that spirit is proof against their power. They have the power to manipulate and confuse and ruin us, but not to change our will. I will remain here until the world crumbles and fades from existence with joy in my heart.
Nice.
I've shown them what they truly are.
This place, Sun and Shadow, what is it? I could tell you what I believe, but again, there would be no proof. I have only what I have seen and what others have told me about it. There is only one man who can tell you now, who knows it to a certainty, and you shall face him soon enough. I will leave it for you to see yourself, to make your own judgments. Better for your soul that way. Why has Theos done all this?
He cares only for the secret he keeps locked away. He destroys anyone who might discover it, no matter their chances. That's why he's always favored Woodica. It isn't in her love of promises or justice. It's her disregard for the rules. Her willingness to do what is necessary. To Theos, she's not a deity, but an ally with which to conspire. When her power waxes, she does as she pleases with this realm, as well as hers. And she wants that secret guarded as much as he. If Theos succeeds, there will be a shift in the balance of power among the gods. Woodica was vanquished once, when the other gods decided she had gone too far, and her power diminished. With this infusion, there is no telling what she will do. The only certainty is that there will be chaos in their realm, as well as ours.
Do you know what it is that I need from Theos?
I could not say for sure. But you have been to Sun and Shadow before, and it came at a crossroads in your life, when much of what you knew had been upended. I have to believe it will come to you there. Your concerns then were of loyalty and trust and the gods. Everything I told you seemed to send you further into doubt. His words mattered to you when you knew him then. After you and I spoke, you went immediately to seek him out. Perhaps you simply sought confirmation from the man you trusted. If something from that time still troubles you, it may be something he told you then, or refused to tell you. He keeps secrets better than any in this world.
And how can I get him to tell me what I need to know?
You will not find a more resolute being on all of Iovara. There is no offer you could make, nor spell you could cast, nor pain you could inflict that would make him reveal what he hides. But I see you have become a watcher in this life. Perhaps in defeat, when he can no longer defend himself, you might learn something from him.
It's time for me to go.
Theos will not wait for you. If you do not catch up to him now, you may never find him again.
Wow. The gods have given me the souls of their forgiven. If you repent, you could join with them, help me strike the final blow against Theos.
If I repent, all I have done has meant nothing.
Your defiance here is an illusion. You're a slave to the gods, bound to their rules, stuck in their system. Your continued existence is proof of God's dominion over all of us. Notice a bond now, one that has been always been an interleaving of her essence with yours at the extremities of your perception. You are tied to this woman's spirit, and you can feel a measure of control over it, as though you were its shepherd. What are you suggesting? I can disintegrate your soul, make you cease to exist. Then it would be I would be no different than the other souls the gods have broken in this place. I do not wish to stop fighting them. You remain here not for the gods, but in hope for some affirmation of your faith. You are afraid you were wrong. For a long time, Iovara says nothing. Looking at her now, she stares off. The fatigue is unmistakable, as though her life had been some dream from long ago, and her imprisonment a day without end. Perhaps you are right. Perhaps there is a way to end this on my turn. She looks up at you.
For my part in leading you to Theos in the very beginning, I hope you can forgive me. I hope whatever final guidance I've given you here proves more useful. I suppose I have waited long enough, and I do not wish to delay you any further. Come, let's be done with this once and for all. I am ready.
Disintegrate her soul. In your mind's eye, Iovara's soul becomes a doll of parchment. Your focus flies toward the doll in waves of sparks that gather in clusters at its feet. You push harder and the sparks engorge, dancing upward as flames that climb the base of the doll, curling it, peeling back the woven fibers and turning them a luminescent orange before fading them to purest black. The doll seems to hang there a moment as the last of the parchment is consumed by the last of the flame, leaving only a few tenuously connected strands to hold together its shape, like an intricate work of lace. Iovara tips her head slightly to you, and with that the last strands give away, coming apart as particles of ash that scatter, carried on some invisible breeze into the nothingness beyond. She is gone. Okay, that was pretty cool, and a ton of exposition. Also, we got a new ability. So what is that? I bet it's a new active ability. Steps of the wheel. Paralysis sickened. Nice. Gives them a glimpse into the afterlife by displacing their souls. Last of our awesome Watcher powers. Okay. Can't do that. So it's true, the gods are a sham that people have followed for thousands of years. Pretty much. They're still incredibly powerful beings. I suspect...
We've been lied to. Our whole lives, and many lives before that. And it's led us to put our faith in a pantheon of gods that never deserved it in the first place.
I'm gonna go with... Theos is wrong. Most people are fundamentally decent, and knowing the truth can only make them better.
Alright. People will be better off finding direction on their own than following this farce. Besides, the gods haven't exactly done much to prevent us from slaughtering each other. If anything, they've only given us more pretenses for doing so. I've also been thinking, there won't be much left of Theos by the time you're done with him, if I know how you operate. That will leave the leaden key headless. Perhaps it's best it stays that way.
Do what you think is right.
Let's face Theos. When this is all over, I'll make sure that no one is able to commit his abuses again.
Excellent.
Uh-huh.
Let's go down and mess him up. I assume we have a nice final confrontation with Theos, where, you know, everything is sunshine and happiness and no one is murdered.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we note a rather sharp drop somewhere around here? Nice and quiet.
Wow, that is dark. Cutscene time. Ah, convenient. That's what the souls are doing for us, right? They're lighting up the place. Okay. This is not a small place.
Full of surprises, aren't you?
Look at the size of this place.
We
Yeah.
make our own path now, Watcher.
Suppose you could make a few bridges the same way,
What use is the diamond? I guess it can be used in crafting, I hope. Otherwise, like, we're not going to run into a store down here. You can give us all the crap you want, but there's nothing that we're going to get from it. In Width and Shade. Hey,
I'm here.
pathfinding. It's not that hard.
Can't get a good shot with this. Just like old times.
Ridiculous. Sometimes this game does really dumb things.
Sure thing.
Ah, look, dragons. Gauntlets of swift action. Oh, right, because I've been picking up all these traps. Hey, I said... Game, you seem to really not be reliably doing that. Sorry, I have a cat that has decided she really wants some attention and decided to walk straight in front of the monitor then. Okay. I guess over here? Why do I feel like we're going to be fighting skeletal dragons? Shadow Drake, yeah. Okay. Hey, dragon. We'll swap out our weapon. Can you not do that? Nah, nope, that. Yeah, you can die now. And then you can die. Good. Sorted. Now can I do that? Ah, chalky bits of bone break away in your fingers. Gotcha.
Will do.
Poor Drakes. Got chained up here to die.